Shoot, I did it wrong. But anyway, so we are live on, no, we're not live anywhere other than here. Oops, I messed that up, but it's too late now. So let me just quickly, hello everyone. Let me just quickly do you get the YouTube live started, and then we'll get started here as well. I'm so excited that today my good friend Emily Ghosh Harris is with us, and we're going to be talking about celestial self-mastery and self-expression. And so we are just getting the YouTube live started. And so for those of you who are new to me, new to my YouTube channel, new to the show, please do watch live or on demand. And please do watch all the previous shows as well as the future shows coming up. And it is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring to you these wonderful speakers and guests who are here to share their wisdom, their teachings, their experiences, their processes, their healing, their activations. Oh my God, so much, and their guidance. So please do subscribe. Please do join us. We normally do shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I keep saying I'm going to try and do less, but it never works out. But yes, please do join us as much as you can and receive, right? Be willing to receive. And, you know, we are here to assist you in thriving in your life. It's not always about healing, clearing, etc. It's also about thriving in your life and enjoying life and awakening to happiness now, not later. And so these wonderful guest speakers who join me are really powerful and so experienced in this, and they have so much knowledge and wisdom that I'm so grateful that I get to do this. It's such a gift for me as well. So again, please do join us. And so like I said, today we have my good friend Emily Ghosh Harris with us, and we're going to be talking about celestial self-mastery and self-expression. So some of what we're going to talk about today, it includes what is your soul song and why is it important? How is the Aries Libra Nodal Axis Shift helping us to move towards celestial self-mastery? How can we use the power of sound and vibration to help express our soul song and crystallize our desired reality into physical form? How can you tell if your throat chakra is blocked? And we're also going to be talking about some tools for finding and expressing your unique soul song. So I know normally when Emily comes on the show, we usually take some live caller questions, and there's always wonderful processes that she shares with us, which is amazing. So all that and more, there's always more. For those of you who don't know Emily, like I said, she's been with us many times. We love having her here. It's always a high vibe show. And she, again, like I said, brings so much wisdom. Her gifts are extraordinary. She is an intuitive guide, a sound alchemist, a facilitator of sacred ceremony, and a multidimensional business mentor. She is founder of Soul Media, which is a company that serves as a portal of expansion and elevation for heart-centered entrepreneurs, lightworkers, starseeds, and conscious companies. Elizabeth assists clients in taking quantum leaps in their lives and businesses by bringing forward their highest, most authentic and creative expression through the integration of galactic astrology, human design, gene keys, self-inquiry, and quantum energy healing techniques. Emily helps clients to deepen their understanding of their divine blueprint, heal core wounds of separation and limiting beliefs, and step forth in their highest available timeline, fully activating the music their heart and soul came here to share and express. So I'm so excited. There's much more in her bio that you can read online, of course, but I'm just so excited to have Emily back with us so that we can, you know, really truly be authentically who we are, express ourselves, you know, more authentically and really live into our highest vision. So we're going to talk about all of that and more with Emily. Emily, welcome back to the show.
Oh, Alara, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here, and it's so beautiful to see everyone's faces. I just feel like this is going to be a really expansive time together.
It always is. I mean, I messed up at the beginning because I pressed the wrong button, but you know what? It's all good. It's all good. The best part is that you're here to share your wisdom, your techniques, your tips, your processes, etc., to help all of us really truly be authentically who we are and express that in the world and share that in the world. So I just want to say really quickly, it's not just about business, but it is about ourselves. Are we expressing our true authentic selves, or are we still wearing masks, and are we still limiting ourselves because of some programs and beliefs that, are still running, right? So it's not just business, but, obviously Emily also does work with business owners as well. But I mean, I don't know. There's a lot we can go into around that as well, because let's face it, right now there's so many of us who are doing healing work, right? Doing work in the world to expand consciousness, raise the frequency and vibration of the planet and the collective, and just sharing our heart with so many, right? And so that is part of what you help people to do, is to really share and express their heart, music, song, right? And that truly, for me, that just means, being who you truly are, without those walls, without those limitations, without those restrictions, without holding you back, right?
Absolutely, Alara. And, we express that in so many ways. What I'm hearing and feeling so deeply is that we came here for this time. And this is such a potent time to be on planet Earth. There's so much transformation and change that's taking place. And, those that are tuning in to this call today are really at the forefront of that change, are really tapping into something that's greater than all of us, and really the potential that is available through our stepping into our mastery, through our stepping into our own unique harmonic resonance, which is so needed on the planet at this time. And we know that really we make up individually a part of the whole, a part of all that is, and every single one of our unique essence, the unique snowflake that we are, it needs to be expressed, and it contributes so greatly, so profoundly to the whole. And I just love the time that we're gathered here today. It just feels like such a potent time of new beginnings, of planting new intentions. We are at the midst of a brand new cycle, and we're going to talk about what that means. But, the new moon in Cancer was just yesterday, leading up to the nodal axis shift today. The nodes of the moon are moving from Taurus Scorpio to Aries Libra, which is a huge shift. It's a huge shift, and it brings up themes that we're here to experience, that we're here to move through and deepen into, that help us to move forward collectively towards our growth and transformation. And it also helps us to really release some of these deeper shadows that we're purging collectively, some of these areas and places and spaces where perhaps we're hanging on to false frequencies. Perhaps we're hanging on to those small voices, those areas or places that tell us that we can't be in the full magnitude, the full expression of who we came here to be and to share. And so we are invited to let some of that energy go, to be freer from some of those frequencies of perhaps people pleasing, of perhaps placating, perhaps the need or feeling of fitting in. And let's go back, right? Like, this is woven deep into the core of our being. And I just want to say that this is such a topic that's near and dear to my heart. It's something that I've journeyed with, continue to, around expressing myself, around the activating of the throat chakra. And there's many reasons why this is challenging. Like, if you're out there and you're listening and you're like, you were called to be here, there is definitely a reason. And if you've felt or feel as though, expressing your deepest truth, as activating and fully expressing your throat chakra has been a challenge, rightfully so. There's a reason, right? And we come into this world as these, sound healers, as these magnificent beings that express and announce our arrival. If you think about a baby that comes into the world, we let out a big scream, announcing ourselves, being here. And over time, perhaps we're told to to quiet down, to not make as much noise, to maybe be nice, or to, just fit in. And what happens when we're young is that we innately need to belong. If you think about a baby, it's looking for a sense of belonging and safety. Those are our primal needs when we come into this world. And so there are, experiences that perhaps make it feel as though it's unsafe to express, and we can talk about some of those, right? Because, for example, the patriarchy, right, is very present. It's, this is a frequency of a false imbalance, between masculine and feminine energies. And these can have a suppression on our voices. Things like bullying, if you've ever experienced bullying, or you've ever experienced self-criticism, or if you grew up in an environment where there was a high value on perfectionism, right, which we know does not exist, right? But if there's a feeling of, I need to get it right. Or if you grew up and experienced an environment where there was a lot of turmoil, there was perhaps a lot of, fighting, or maybe there was abuse or something like this, then we can actually shut down our feelings and emotions because it feels unsafe to express. And so I'm here to share, I've experienced all of these, in my journey and in this lifetime. And, let's not forget, right, that there is previous timelines as well of, coming in perhaps and having a soul remembrance of perhaps in a lifetime where speaking your truth and being in your full power and your full radiance resulted in consequences, right? Whether it was abandonment or ridicule or something even worse. And so we really get to honor wherever we are in this journey of self-expression, of really allowing our unique expression to emanate and to shine through and to express.
Awesome, thank you. And so I just want to share really quickly, we're talking about self-expression. Emily just talked about the throat chakra. And as some of you may know, I've been dealing with throat chakra issues all my life. Ever since I heard about what a chakra is, I've been dealing with throat chakra issues for a long time, right? But, especially recently, I have been, experiencing some throat chakra issues. But the thing is, the expressing yourself, being able to express yourself, feeling sometimes that you couldn't express yourself the way that you wanted to. I mean, I've been experiencing that since childhood. I was always told to be quiet, don't say anything, just the look, you just get the look from somebody, right? So we were not allowed or able to express ourselves. And then growing up, I got better at it, obviously, like I'm obviously doing these shows, which is a miracle, to be honest. When I think about it, it's like, how did I get to this where I am much more freely expressing myself in a public place and space as this? And then, this past year, 2 years with my husband, not really truly being able to express myself because he can't handle it, right? So I can't really say what I want to say because he can't handle it. He can't, like biologically, neurologically, he can't, right? So that there's still that I'm not truly being able to express myself because of limitations, right? This time it's a medical condition kind of thing. But the thing is, it's like when that happens, I feel that when we hold stuff in, right, we're dimming our light, we're limiting ourselves, we're not being who we truly are. And that doesn't mean that, you know, I want to like yell and scream or whatever, but sometimes concepts are difficult for him to understand, you know, so I can't really truly say everything that I feel. And then we need to find a space that we can share, right? So that we can be ourselves, so that we have that safety, right? So I can't blame him because it's a medical condition. He can't control it, kind of thing. But then there must be a place where then I can go and share what's in my heart, right? So that's why support and these types of programs, these types of communities are so important for people to be able to share, express their thoughts and feelings, be heard, be seen, feel safe and welcome. And I hope that I've been able to do that for this community, to, you know, in whatever way that I can. I hope I've been able to do that in this community because I know how important that is. So self-expression, again, you know, is not just about expressing yourself in business. It's about expressing yourself in life. And me being from India, right? So raised as an Indian person in Canada, I still had those cultural beliefs, right? And training, you know, about being a good girl, not talking, not really, you know, not fighting against my parents, not going against the societal norms, blah, 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 blah. Until I got to the point where I was like, how do I say this nicely? I'm not doing that anymore. Right. And then starting to live my life based on what was right for me, that felt right for me, the best way that I could. Right. So it's not always like a immediate kind of thing. It's a process. And I want everybody to know it's a process. Right. So luckily, Emily's here to share with us some wonderful information and processes and wisdom. But also, like, I like how you say that, you know, expressing ourselves is kind of like our soul song and why we're here. We truly are, you know, our self-expression is our way of being, truly, right? This is who I am, right? So it's not what I say, but it's who you are, and that is what expresses into reality, right? So let's talk about soul song a little bit and why I mean, I'm not a musical person, but that's why it's like you are. So you're very when I think about soul song, it's like, am I gonna be singing? Am I gonna be toning? Am I gonna which I know is not the same thing, but it's just about you truly being you at your core, right?
Yeah, I love that so much, Alara. I mean, you shared so much and so many different directions that we can explore. And first, I think it's so powerful when we can share transparently from the heart because we give others permission to do the same. And, you know, this is such a powerful platform for, you know, us to be able to express and do just that. And so I think that is so important. I can 1000% relate to, you know, some of your journey of what you shared. You know, my father is also from India. So those societal expectations of, you know, following, this is the path, you know, those can be really deep. And so if we have something unique, which we all do, right, that we're here to express, then sometimes we can challenge maybe perhaps what our parents think is best, or perhaps, you know, what society, you know, is doing at the moment, right? And so it takes a lot of courage to really follow our unique soul song and not to get too much into, you know, the esoteric part of it, right? But we can actually measure the harmonic resonance of an organ, of a tissue, right? And if you think about this, we are energy and we are vibrating. So on a molecular level, you can actually look at a tissue or an organ and it has a harmonic resonance. And so if you think about the body as an ecosystem, as a system, it is a symphony of sound. And each of us are a unique symphony. And if you think about, you know, a part of the body, or if there is dis-ease, that is because something has gone out of harmonic resonance. right? And that becomes, there's a little bit of dissonance in the body. And this is why sound can actually be so powerful to bring us back into harmony. And so when you think about our soul songs of what we're here to express, to share, it is that unique, authentic resonance that we came into the world and were emanating. And so this is before the world taught us who we should be. And so we get to really look at some of maybe the small voices that keep us from expressing in our own unique, authentic way. And some of those small voices might be, oh, you will be judged, you know, you're not good enough, or who are you to express this, or maybe you'll be too much, right? We can have those voices that can keep us small. And the key here is to recognize when this is a false frequency, when it is a small voice that's coming in that is not our authentic resonance.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
And, you know, I think somebody asked about the last 2 months, and I'd love to, you know, share a little bit about that from an astrological perspective, because I love the timing of this, of us, you know, being gathered together today during the nodal axis shift. And I'd love to share just a little bit of the significance of that, because it's fascinating, and it illuminates clues to some of the themes that we're moving through collectively towards our destiny, towards our evolution and growth. And the nodes of the axis are points that are calculated by the ecliptic of the moon and the sun. And they stay in signs for 18 and a half months. And so if we look back in time, we can look at 2020, which we all know was an incredibly significant year where there was a tremendous amount of change. Well, what were some of the themes that were happening in 2020, and where were the nodes at that time? Well, the nodes were in Gemini Sagittarius. And why is that significant? Well, Gemini Sagittarius brings up themes around communication, around the spread of ideas, what to believe, perhaps the spread of miscommunication. Gemini Sagittarius also has to relate to travel. So we can see how these themes were very much experienced during that time. We're just moving away from Taurus, Scorpio, which the nodes of the moon were in for the past 18 and a half months. Why is that significant? Well, Taurus and Scorpio brings up themes around worth, around self-worth, around resources, around the body, reproductive rights, the banking system, power, our personal power, our food supply, the earth, right? So we can see how those themes were very much prevalent for the past 18 and a half months. Now we move to Aries Libra axis, and why is that significant? What does the Aries Libra axis represent? Well, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It represents our self-identity. And Aries and Libra are the balance between the self and others, the I versus the we, ourself and balancing our own needs and that of our relationships. And so this brings up themes around, you know, Aries is at the higher octave, a fire sign. It is the first sign of the zodiac. It is that cardinal initiating energy, that pioneering energy, the self identity, the self expression. It's that inner guidance. Aries has to do with leadership, with our courage, right? And so these are all some of the themes. It also Aries, on the shadow frequency of Aries, has to do with perhaps conflict, aggression, selfish behavior, putting, the self above others in an unhealthy way. And then when we look at Libra, some of the themes around Libra are around peace, around justice, around harmony, around balance, around equanimity, a collaboration. But what are some of the shadow frequencies? Because the South Node is in Libra, and the South Node represents that which we are purging, which we are invited to look at perhaps some of the more unhealthier expressions and let those go and to release them. And so the unhealthy expression of Libra, which every sign of the zodiac has, a higher octave and perhaps, a lower expression, but some of the lower expressions of Libra are the people pleasing, are the placating. It is the, not speaking one's truth for fear of, ruffling feathers or making others uncomfortable, rocking the boat. And so we can see how those themes can be prevalent at this time. And why might there be, somebody asked about the past 2 months specifically. Well, what's interesting is that right now Pluto is right on the brink of Aquarius, wrapping up the final degrees in Capricorn, and so it's squaring the nodes of the moon. And so when there's a square in astrology, this always represents tension. And Pluto is the planet of rebirth, of transformation, of alchemization. And so it's helping us transform. It spends 20 or so years in a sign. And so Pluto moving through Capricorn was really about the dissolving of structures and systems that are no longer serving us. And it's also about taking out the focus around external power and bringing it more internal. And that's what the Aries energy helps us with, is that inner guidance. We're living in a day and age where there's an app that can literally tell you everything. There's an app that can tell you what your mood is. There's an app that can tell you what your blood pressure is. And so one of the most powerful things that we can do is really attune to our own inner guidance. And so why is there a push-pull of the square between Pluto and the nodes? And that is because we're really being invited to move forward. It's the challenge of, are we going to move forward towards our destiny, or are we going to kind of fall back into the comfortable, into the familiar, right? The South Node represents the familiar, the comfortable, perhaps. And so how could we interpret this, right? Like if there are spaces and places where perhaps we have felt afraid to express our truth, or we have really taken on more of the role of the people pleaser and not expressed our own unique truth, or our own unique gifts, our shine, our light in our own unique way, how can we move forward and have the courage to shine in our own unique way? And that's something that is definitely up right now for the collective.
Awesome. Thank you. So hopefully, Angela, that answers your question, but it's, whenever I think about the throat chakra, is like, where am I not being true to myself? Where am I not expressing who I am truly, authentically? There are many places to be to be honest. I still am not, I'm a very private person, so I don't really share a lot of my personal stuff like on social media per se. Yeah, I'm a very private person, and even within family dynamics, etc. You know, I'm still very private, and unless somebody asks me a specific direct question, then I may answer them. But otherwise, it's like close to my chest, right? So it's like I'm not closed, but you know, I will open up if somebody asks me a question. You know, so and I think part of that is just because I have always been shy, right? So being shy, it really is like, you know, you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of being ridiculed, you're afraid of being humiliated, you're afraid of being, you know, all that wonderful stuff, which I experienced all my life. So there's still a little bit of that still playing, right? Of course, which totally makes sense. And there's no judgment for anybody. But whenever you find your throat chakra being blocked or whatever, ask yourself those types of questions. Where am I not being true to me, right? What is it that I truly want? We'll talk a little bit about that. Well, we might as well address that now. So like how can somebody tell if their throat chakra is blocked, and what can they do about it?
Yeah, that's such a beautiful question. And I feel like so many of us, you know, myself included, can relate to that. So thank you so much for sharing, you know, and is a block, you know, it might be that we feel a sense of increased shyness. We might feel a lot of fear around speaking or being seen. We might have a difficulty expressing our feelings and emotions. And I really want to highlight here, you know, the throat chakra is the fifth chakra, and it's connected with the throat, the thyroid gland, the teeth, the ears, our neck, right? But of course, all of our chakra systems are deeply interconnected and related. And so there is such a deep connection between the womb, the sacral chakra, and the throat chakra. And actually, if you look at it, the two from you know, a biological perspective, they actually somewhat mirror each other, the cervix and the larynx. And so there is such a deep connection between the sacral and the throat and our ability to express. And so that this is why sometimes if we feel shame, or we were shamed as children, or we're taught, you know, that maybe it's not safe to express our feelings and our emotions are connected to the sacral chakra, which is also connected with our sexuality, our sensuality, our creativity, our emotions, right? So if there is somewhat of a block around feeling free to express our emotions freely, then this can also manifest in the throat chakra as well. So I really want to highlight the connection, the interconnection between our chakras. But some of the other ways that we can tell if perhaps we're feeling blocked in the throat chakra, again, it would be a feeling of anxiety when it comes to speaking, a feeling of, you know, unexplained, you know, shyness, a feeling of, you know, wanting to people please, a feeling of not wanting to rock the boat. Like if you notice that you steer away from conversations that are difficult or that could be challenging, this can be a clue that your throat chakra is blocked. And what I mean by this, just an example, is like, you know, this person wants me to do this thing, you know, and instead of saying no, I'm gonna avoid the conversation, right? So saying no also, if we have difficulty saying no, or voicing, you know, challenging emotions, this can be another sign that the throat chakra is blocked.
Yep. So what can we do about it? What can we do to unblock the throat chakra?
Well, so part of it, you know, you hit on, right? Because I think part of it is that when we are not able to fully express our emotions or it's not safe, they can become lodged in the body,
Mhm.
right? We've all heard the body keeps score. And so when you think about back to, the beginning, as a baby, we come into the world to fully express. And when we're sad, we cry out. And when we're delighted, we might giggle with glee. We express these emotions just freely. And so perhaps somewhere along the lines, we are taught that we can't express the fullness of our emotions. And so one thing that can be really helpful, the throat chakra is said to really fully develop and really deepen in crystallization between the ages of 7 to 10. So we can think back to that time and space of what was happening during those years. And we can reparent ourselves. This is something that can be really helpful, is to go back if there was a moment. And something that I really want to highlight here is that we might not remember every instance where our throat chakra was shut down, and we don't need to excavate it all at once. But if we have a memory or even a feeling contracted, a feeling it's unsafe to share my truth, of, there's nobody here that can handle how I feel, as empaths, as everyone here is on the call, right? Is that, sometimes you can be so in tune with the suffering and the emotions around you that you become the one that's holding space even at a young age. And so you're tending to other people's emotions and perhaps not expressing or sharing your own truth. So that can be one scenario that can be present. But going back to reparenting whatever it is that made you feel unsafe in sharing your truth, blocked in your self-expression. Maybe it was a situation where I remember, I ran for student council, and there was a petition from like the popular girls, and that really created a lot of fear around being seen, right? So we can go back to specific timelines, and reparent ourselves. And even it can be really nice if we, give ourselves a little hug and create safety in the nervous system to really calm down our brain waves, drop into our heart, and give ourselves the love and the unconditional love and compassion that perhaps we didn't receive at that exact moment. And so what we're teaching our nervous system, and we're teaching ourselves, is that it's safe to express. I'm here for you. I will hold you. I've got you. Right? And this is a way that we can lovingly begin to reparent and recondition the nervous system to feel safe in our expression.
Awesome. Wonderful. I love it. And absolutely, I love that point about reparenting ourselves, because let's face it, our childhood for some of us may not have been great. So all those experiences that were not great, we don't have to accept them as they were. We can reparent ourselves and change how we feel about that experience. So we can't change the experience per se, but we can change how we feel about that experience now. So I was just actually doing that right now, because something came up and it's like, oh, yeah, that's that was not a fun time. So I was just actually doing a quick little process right there, for myself to change the energy of it, right? So it doesn't have to be like a long process. It can be simple little things you can do to change your reactions to the past.
That's so beautiful. And we can do that, like you saw, we can do that pretty quickly and just and drop into it. And the more we practice that, the more that we can create that safety in our nervous systems, faster.
Yeah.
And so, I want to go into some other additional ways that we can heal the throat chakra.
Yes, please.
I think is really powerful, which is like, I don't feel like I open up and share with all of these people, right? And you know, many of us can relate to that, right? Like, you know, it's like not I'm going out and, you know, sharing everything that's going on in my life with on, you know, social media or with a huge group of friends, right? That might not be our truth. And, you know, not every relationship is going to be the same. And we go through different seasons, even where it is, you know, perhaps we're not able to fully share at the level that, you know, we'd like to. And so the thing that I would really love to share about this is that it is important to be able to get out our feelings and emotions and how we're feeling. And sometimes we think like, oh, well, I'm thinking about it in my head, like I know what's going on, but there's perhaps the invitation to process it even more. And I feel that journaling, automatic writing can be such a powerful practice for this. And it's something that we can really receive even more of our own inner guidance, our own inner wisdom when we take the time to be able to journal. And so I want to go back to something about the throat chakra that's really interesting, and that is that you know, the connection between actually being able to hear our inner guidance, our higher self, our guides, because the throat chakra is not just our ability to speak and be visible. It's also, you know, it's related to our creative expression, our voice, and also our ability to deeply listen and hear. And so sometimes we say like, oh gosh, I'm not able to hear my guides fully, or I'm not able to hear my higher self. And so sometimes this can be related to a block in the throat chakra. And sometimes it is just making that extra space and time to be able to connect with that which we're feeling and make it real and acknowledge it and give it space. Because perhaps in an earlier timeline, we didn't have the space, or it wasn't safe to fully go into the emotions, go into what we're feeling. And so we're used to that, right? Like that's perhaps a pace that, you know, we've gotten used to. But the invitation for healing the throat chakra is to spend some time with automatic writing and journaling to be able to go into the deeper truths of what we're even want to admit or share to anyone. And so another really powerful practice when it comes to healing the throat chakra is writing a letter to somebody that you have something to express, that you haven't perhaps had the courage, haven't had the space, haven't had, you know, the energetic bandwidth to fully express and share your truth. And even if you say like, oh, it didn't really matter, or I'm over it, or something like this, the invitation here is to express just for the sheer power in expressing and feeling the totality of your feelings and making it safe to share your truth. Because what we're doing when we're healing the throat chakra is to make it safe to express your truth, your authentic, you know, reality, without needing to be liked, without needing it to be palatable for others. And sometimes we need to practice doing this. And so whether or not you decide to share the letter with that person, that can be a really powerful if you feel guided to do so. But even just in the act of writing the letter, getting your emotions and thoughts out on paper can be so cathartic and healing.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I would just add also, like when you're writing the letter, please write with your hand, not on the computer. So pen and paper, it makes a huge difference to do it that way. Okay. And you don't have to give the letter to the person, but you know, so just tune in and see how that feels. But it's for you. It's for you to be able to release, for you to be able to have the clarity, and for you to be able to have more insights as well as to the experience. Okay. It's not for anybody else, really. It's not about blaming or anything else, just you expressing how you feel. I mean, if we want to blame, that's fine too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back to some of the connections because I feel like these are helpful, for people as well, right? Because we talked about the connection with the intuition, hearing our guides, hearing our higher self. But sometimes, what I've noticed is a connection between when somebody's throat chakra is really shut down, and the connection with perhaps attracting a relationship or a partnership with somebody with narcissistic tendencies. And I'm not saying narcissist because I know that that word can sometimes be overused.
For
What
sure.
it is as a match, right? The match is that when someone's voice, their throat chakra is shut down and the other person's is perhaps overactive, and that can be an attraction point. And so I want to make that connection. I also want to make another connection, which is around receiving pleasure, receiving in general, and the connection to our ability to express ourselves. Alara, you highlighted like this is not about business. It is so much bigger than that. It is about really coming here to the fullness of what we came to express and to receive. And we came here to express and experience joy and pleasure. And so if we are experiencing a throat chakra block, I just invite you to feel into if there, seems to be a connection with your ability to receive, your ability to perhaps receive a compliment. Sometimes that can be so difficult, right? Like if somebody says, "Oh, you're looking radiant today." Like, "Oh, you're looking radiant too." Like we want to give it back, and instead of like really taking that in, like, "Thank you so much. That's such a beautiful compliment. Thank you." How often do we really feel the fullness of gratitude with all the little things that we receive throughout the day, whether it's the breeze on through our hair, or being out in beautiful nature, surrounded by trees and flowers, feeling the wind and the elements. There's so many different ways that we receive. And I feel as we get even more comfortable with receiving, we also get more comfortable in our self-expression as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm not a very good receiver. I know that. Working on it. I'm a work in progress. It's okay.
And so all of these things, right? They're 1 degree turns or one little bit can go so far. And I want to share this, right? Because, say that you feel, gosh, there's not that many people, or there's nobody in my life where I feel like I can express the fullness of who I am, or express the messy parts of who I am. Can we challenge ourselves to be a little bit more authentic? Can we challenge ourselves to show up even more real in conversation, right? And right, like, so often we're in a conversation with a friend and it's like, how's your week going? It's going great. How is yours? And we maybe don't think too much about that, right? But what if we were just to really express, like, this week has been really aggravating, or a lot has really come to the surface for me to explore this week. Like, this is my truth. This is my reality. And notice in ourselves how it feels just to express a little bit more transparently. This is the age of transparency, and I feel that this is the way that we are moving, where we're all becoming more receptive, more intuitive. And so we can tell when somebody is being inauthentic or their words don't match their true vibrational resonance. We can actually feel that energetically. And so we're getting to the point where there's no point really to hide or to if we're able to express. And something to really know here is that your emotions are welcome. And so this can be such a powerful practice when we really just meet ourselves in that 0 point, in that, place of unconditional love and compassion, and say, all of you is welcome here.
That's beautiful. And that's the thing. All of you are welcome, right? And so, I always talk about be in your heart space, be in your heart space, be in your heart space, but that does not mean bypassing what you're feeling, right? A lot of times people who are just like positive all the time, it's like, hello, but you have to still process what you're feeling, feel what you're feeling, acknowledge what you're feeling, because there are many days when I'm not very positive. I'm going through a difficult time. And I remember somebody asking me and they're like, oh, how are you doing? It's like, you know what? Not great. This is not a great week. But for me, it's like, I don't want to get into it. Right. But I also can't lie and say, oh, it's fantastic. Everything is great. Because, my energy is going to come off as, it's like, really? But, so it's like, be willing to experience and feel what you're feeling. That's the only way you can actually process through it. If so enough of this bypassing, right? Bypassing. My sister said that to me the other day. She said, but don't you always talk about manifesting what you want, attracting what you like, think it's all about mindset? Yes, absolutely. But when you're going through something, don't just say, oh, I'm just gonna think positive about it. It's like you still have to go experience it, see what it is, feel it. If you have to, I had to go get blood work done and all that stuff, like saw a doctor, blah, 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 right? So you can't ignore that, right? When there's stuff going on in your life, you can't ignore what's happening and just be positive. That is not being authentic.
Yes, I love that you bring this through, and I would bet that 100% of the people here listening and the people in your community absolutely love and appreciate that about you. I know that's one thing that I enjoy the most about you, because you keep it real and you share how you're doing, what you're feeling, and it's so refreshing to have that level of authenticity. And so this is something that is a beautiful illumination of our vibe attracts our tribe. And that's when we are in our authentic soul resonance that we're able to magnetize those relationships, those people in our lives that need our exact medicine and gifts, and really appreciate who we are and our authentic truth, and look at the beautiful community as testament of that. And so it's a reminder that we don't need to water it down, we don't need to tiptoe around, but actually people appreciate you showing up in your realness and your authenticity. And if that is something that feels uncomfortable, which I know for many years of my life that actually would feel uncomfortable to share authentically in relationships, because I had friendships that were very superficial. And though I so deeply wanted the deeper, vulnerable connections, I mean, that's all my heart wanted and desired, it was really difficult for me to get there because I didn't know how to. And I was hanging out in the superficiality where it was very much about people pleasing. It was very much about not expressing my full truth and just being kind of nice to others, and not recognizing or realizing why I was magnetizing relationships and friendships that didn't have the depth, didn't have the vulnerability, didn't have the realness that I was so deeply desiring. So can we show up just a little bit more in our rawness and our vulnerability and our authenticity, and look at what that magnetizes in our
Absolutely. And it is so key, it's
in our
so,
reality?
and just for everybody, or for those of you who know, because like I said, I'm a very private person, but all the blood tests came back great. Everything is hunky-dory, nothing to worry about. Everything is great, right? So it's like, whew, thank goodness, right? So it's like, it's a big relief for my parents, especially. But the thing is, it's like when, when you can be real, especially with yourself, like you honestly, truly, if nobody else, at least be real with yourself, right? So if I had this fear of like, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on? Could it be this? Could it be that? Considering circumstances, family history, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, I really don't want this, kind of thing. And being real and honest with yourself. And I didn't want it because I didn't want it because it's how it would affect my children and my parents. But it's like, oh, I don't have time for this, but it's just saying, okay, well, if it's comes out to be something, then we'll deal with it, right? But you can't ignore life. And I think that's what a lot of people are just, no offense to anybody, but when you're always thinking positive and sunny and happy, joy, which is great, but not at the expense of reality, right? Being true to yourself and being true to who you are being in the world. And part of this is about being true to yourself and being true in the world the best you can. I can't always express myself fully, because I'm a public person, but inside I'm going to be true to myself, right? And so that's going to come out as well as we're speaking. And sometimes I can't help it, so I may not say the F-bomb, but you'll get the essence of what I'm really saying. It's like, yeah, I'm passionate about some things. And so be passionate, right? But not forcing your opinions on anybody. Just be passionate because that's who you are inside. So I am a passionate person, and I feel a lot. So like, yeah, that comes across, and that's okay. And if somebody doesn't like it, oh my God, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. And this, I've learned to prioritize in the past 2 years what's really important and what really matters and what doesn't. So it doesn't matter. So be true to you, be authentic with yourself, live your life the way that you feel called to do, right? And that is the soul song that we talked about at the beginning, right? So do what's right for you. I've always said this, do what's right for you. Absolutely, always. Not at the expense of anybody, but hopefully, but do what's right for you. And so sound and vibration. So obviously Emily is also a sound healer with all the other different modalities, but she's also a sound healer. And sound and frequency and vibration, as we know, are what make the universe, are what makes this reality. And so and I love listening to singing bowls and gongs and just all that kind of stuff. I love listening to it. I can't do anything like that myself. I'm not that talented, but I love listening to it. And I know how it affects my energy field, my emotions, my feelings, just who I am. I know it changes me at that level, at that energetic level, just listening. And so when you are expressing your words as well, they are also making a difference in your reality, right? So the sound, vibration, frequency, all of that makes a huge difference, and you can use that to assist yourself in creating the reality that you want to, as we say, crystallize our desired reality into the physical form. Because I know so many of us would like to have a different reality, right, show up for us. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know logically, I know intellectually, I know energetically even that is possible. But how can we use the power of sound and vibration and frequency to help express our soul song, who we truly are, and crystallize our desired reality into physical form? Because some of us are still being challenged with not really having what we truly desire.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Alara, you just like set the stage for this so beautifully. And I just want to like kind of go way back, right? And kind of paint a big picture around sound and how powerful it is. So we know, ancient texts talk about this. In the beginning was the word, this idea that sound helps us to manifest our creations. And ancient cultures practice this from, the summoning of ancestors, calling in of spirits, ridding the body of disease, aiding in fertility, bringing forth childbirth, helping with a transition to death. There's so many different ways that ancient cultures would use sound, right? And so we're in this stage, we're really remembering all of these ancient healing technologies. And so what I really want to highlight here about sound is that, sound is one of the earliest senses to develop, right? 18 weeks, our hearing begins to form. And by the second trimester, we're actually able to discern our mother's voice. And there is a very deep resonance and connection always, from a baby in the womb to a newborn baby, to having a preference of the mother's voice. And that's because of the sound that's carried through throughout the entire pregnancy, right? And now if we look at that transition on the other end, when we transition out of this world, out of this reality, it is said that one of our last senses to go is the sense of hearing, which is why we're often told to sing, to speak to loved ones as they transition. There is that knowing that it is one of the most powerful senses that we're able to hear and to connect. And so what we know about sound healing is that the benefits are vast, right? From lowered blood pressure to increased oxygen levels, to decrease in anxiety, to increase in our ability to sleep, the list goes on, right? But what we're really starting to realize about sound is some of those more etheric, spiritual connections that sound is able to transform us on an energetic, on a cellular level. And what I love is that, there's been many studies on this. So I'll just share one, but Dr. Fabian Maman studied the effect of all different kinds of instruments, right? He was studying the xylophone, the flutes, gongs, the bass, and he compared that to the human voice. And what he was studying is the ability of these sound, of these instruments, to dissolve cancer cells. And the efficacy, what I really want to highlight here, is that he found that out of all of the instruments, the most powerful was the human voice. There is something that we cannot fully comprehend. The voice carries a spiritual resonance, and it also contains some of the nutrients, right? If we are maybe missing a, area where we're deficient in our voice, in our expression, our own voice can actually help us to heal.
Okay.
And so this is actually being done right now. It's something that's called vocal analysis. And they can actually measure through your voice what areas that you're deficient in. And then there's sound frequencies to actually help to replenish in those areas. So the advances in sound are vast and incredible. There's actually a study that's being done right now by John Stewart Reed, and it's taking the somatic study that Dr. Hans Jenny did and really looking at it from the somatic patterns.
Interesting.
That are created on the cell, crystalline, distinct structures from sound are actually formed on the walls of our cell membrane. That helps us to activate and turn on cells that are maybe more in a sleep state, right? So this is actually activating our DNA. This is how powerful sound is. And so one of the most powerful things that we can do, and especially, and this is how it ties in to all the things that we've been talking about, right? The celestial self-mastery that we're invited into with this Aries Libra nodal shift of expressing our truth, coming into a greater sense of our self-identity, of healing the throat chakra and showing up and expressing our unique soul song, is that when we actually begin to sing, begin to open the voice, and it's no coincidence that the number one fear is public speaking.
Yeah.
That is intentional, let me just say, because our voices are so powerful. And so,
Interesting.
yeah. And so if you do like, and I just really want to highlight this, okay? Because if you feel like, I have something to say, I know that I have something to say, I know I'm here to express something and share something, but it's so difficult for me. I get so anxious, like I start to sweat. It's, I want to leave the room and like flee. Like, okay, I've felt all of those things. Like I'm sure Alara has too at some point in her journey. And so it's not a measure of whether or not you're here to express something that's significant if you have a difficult time expressing. It's because your voice is so powerful that perhaps in previous timelines it's been shut down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally resonate with that.
And so one of the biggest, fastest ways that we can reclaim our power and activate the throat chakra is to sing to ourselves and ourselves. And if this is difficult for you, I just want to say that it was difficult for me too. I never, I used to be in choir and I would lip sync. And don't ask me why, because nobody could hear me. But that's how much, social anxiety I had. And, and so, but now I have a morning practice, which I invite anybody that is in resonance. You can first upon waking, maybe get an instrument that you feel called to, maybe it's a singing bowl, maybe it's, a drum, maybe it's just you humming. The simplest thing is to hum, and that has a profound effect on the vagus nerve, on the entire body.
Wow. I mean, I cannot sing to save my life. I mean, I cannot hold a tune. I have no pitch thing, like whatever, all those words that has to do with singing. I don't know what they are, pitch, tone, blah, blah, blah. I cannot, but I love to sing, but just, nobody else likes it. Nobody else likes my singing except for me. The dogs don't mind either. So I do say, I do sing to them when I'm talking to them. I love that. And, it just shows for all of us who have felt from long time that I want to say something, I have something to share. I just feel like there's something within me that I want to share, whether that's writing, whether that's speaking, whether that's singing, whatever it happens to be. It's so easy now to express yourself. Like podcasts, they're free. Mine is not, but they're free. It's like it doesn't take much. And podcast, you don't have to be seen, right? So just babble. Who cares? It doesn't matter, right? And it's so important because whatever message that you have within you that wants to come out, it's not going to come out that first time. I'll be honest, it's not going to come out that first time. But as you keep speaking, slowly your message, the truth of who you are, is going to come out. All right. So I mean, I encourage all of you to do that if you can. And then of course, video, right? I love video because I am just like a visual type of person. I like expressing myself, etc. But just do it. I mean, nobody can do anything to you now, right? I know in the past lifetimes, past timelines, yes, I was hung. My throat was chopped off. Like all that wonderful stuff, burned, all that stuff, right? But in this lifetime, that's not going to happen. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a message or email from somebody saying stop, or something silly like that, right? It's like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm not going to stop. But you know what? You do your thing, right? So the point of this is that as scary as it may seem, what's scarier is holding your truth inside. That is scarier than speaking and having somebody ridicule you or judge you or whatever. The scarier part is keeping it inside, dying with that song within you. I know that there's people say that and it's a phrase, but it truly is the truth. It's like if you are not able to express yourself, be yourself, your true self. For me, that's how it was. A part of me felt like it was dying inside. Right. And so at one point, that's how I felt. It's like, why am I even here? It's like, I might as well just die, because there's no point. If I can't really truly be me, why am I here? And I gave God 6 months. I said, give me a sign in 6 months. Otherwise I'm out. Luckily I got a sign.
Yeah.
So, right. But it's about you being authentically you and just living your life to the best that you can in any moment. We all have our ups and downs. Trust me, we all have our ups and downs, but even though in those ups and downs, you're special. You're here because you're needed to be here. You're here because you're part of the whole, and the whole cannot exist without you. You mentioned that at the very beginning, Emily, and I thought it was beautiful. You said it much more beautifully than I just did. But the essence of that is like the whole consists of all of us together, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so inspiring because when we awaken to our creative potential, our self-expression, the whole gets amplified. All that is that gets amplified. And so imagine all of us in our fullest self-expression. And it's a journey. Like as Alara mentioned, like I feel like this will be the journey of my lifetime to fully express, to liberate the voice. And there's still things that I peel back the layers of, and I, reparent and things like that. So it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And your self-expression is so needed.
Yeah.
It is so needed, and it is so beautiful to be able to liberate that for yourself. And so, like, I just want to go back again to the connection between the sacral and the throat chakra, because it is that creative self-expression.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that creative self-expression, sometimes in the past when I used to do art, I'm not going to call it painting, it's art. Everybody knows this. It's like, it looked like a 5-year-old did it, when I first started. But then as I continued doing it, it got better and better. And as I continued doing it, I found the energies flowing through me as I was creating. And those energies that were flowing through me creating, they're now embedded in those pieces, right? And that is, me, that is my essence of who I am, as well as the frequencies coming in through me. But even those frequencies coming in through you are what make you you as well. So doing something artistic, painting, singing, dancing, writing, whatever that is, from a space of no judgment, no judgment. It's like, I'm just playing. Is going to help to heal that sacral chakra and the throat chakra at the same time. It is amazing what a little bit of artistic creativity can do for you. They all talk about it, everybody talks about it, but when you actually do it and allow yourself the grace to just be and do and create and not judge, it's magical, truly magical. So I do encourage all of you to do a little bit. Doesn't have to be a masterpiece. You don't have to go buy like the most expensive paints and easels and anything like that. Like I think I just went to like Amazon and just like ordered whatever. Just give me something, just something I can do something with. And that was it, right? And so that helps a lot to open you up to allowing yourself to be, just to be and be creative. Right? And move those energies that may be a little stuck or stagnant.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I think one of the keys that you hit on is the non-judgment, is being in a place of unconditional love. And this can take practice, I will say, because, if you've been imprinted with a program of perfectionism or self-criticism, it takes a while to relearn that and to reprogram that in the subconscious. And so it really is the journey of creative expression and giving yourself the freedom and the encouragement to express just for the sheer love of expressing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be as beautiful or as perfect as the painting behind Emily. It could just be whatever it is, okay? And then the thing is, the joy that you get just from creating, it's like, oh my God, I did that. You know, so that's why like I have all my pieces that I created in Austria, and oh no, I brought them with me, because it's like I brought with me this time the most important things, the most important things, and the most important things. So I mean, like, this is like really key. So those pieces of art that I created, they were part of the most important thing, because that was me. I created that from a blank canvas to whatever happens to be on there. I did that, and it's like somebody else may not appreciate it, but you know, I appreciate it, right? And that's the key. It doesn't matter about anybody else. It's about you. Do you appreciate it, right? And do you like it? Do you like yourself? Do you accept yourself? I talk about this all the time, and I'm always going to, because it's important. And so, you know, like, what is important for you? Just play. You know, sometimes it's a little thing, like even just playing with like bubbles. I love bubbles. Like, what brings you joy, right? It doesn't always have to be serious stuff. Like, again, there's no perfection, like Emily said. It's just play with life, play with the energies, play with the frequencies. That's also why we're here. Okay, so we are here to enjoy life. I lost Emily for a second. Where are you? So Emily, I just want to, I know there's like, we could talk forever. And I know we have people with their hands raised as well that have questions. And I know, Sarah, you want to add something. So give me 1 second. I just want to quickly talk about the special offer, which is basically a one-to-one session with Emily. But I just want to talk about that really quickly. And then can we take some of the questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, give me 1 second. I know we're so behind. It's like, oh my goodness. I've been loving this conversation. Of course, I knew I would. It's like, yeah, how would I not? But let me just do some business. Let's do the business part here quickly. Oh, crap. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? No? Yes? No? Okay. Well, let me try that again. Take 2. 1 second. Let's try again. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So Emily's package is a 1 hour, one-to-one radiance session with Emily. So I'm going to let Emily explain what that session is, what's included, like all that wonderful stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so radiance sessions are really a time to get in touch with your unique creative expression and what that looks like and what you're desiring to express and bring forward from the heart. And what we get to do is to really remove those small voices, those false frequencies that stand in the way of you shining your light, of being in your fullest expression. And so we can go into those deeper spaces and places to do some reparenting and reprogramming of the subconscious. And we also look at your unique blueprint to see at what are some of the things that you are here to share, to express your own creative, unique gifts. And so this is a time for really bringing forth that which is on your heart to share. And so these sessions are just, they're so much fun to be able to really have a quantum leap in terms of what you are wanting to bring forward in your life.
Absolutely. And these sessions are 111. There's a payment plan available. And of course, if you are an Inner Circle member, please do use your gift code. Some wonderful testimonials from people who have worked with Emily. Please do take a look at them as well. And like I said, it's there's so much that Emily works with, right? The human design, the gene keys, her own intuition, sound healing, you know, inner child work, reparenting, etc. So much is available for you when you work with Emily. So please do take advantage of these sessions, a 1 hour one-to-one radiance session with Emily. You won't regret it. That's for sure. I know that. So I highly recommend these sessions with Emily if you can, and they're really, really reasonably priced for 1 hour for 111. So I would highly recommend it. All right, so now I know those people have questions. So Linda's been waiting for such a long time. Linda, you want to unmute yourself? Oops.
Sure. Thank you so much. This has been such an amazing call. My heart has just overwhelming with love for everyone. I'm just so grateful to be here.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
talking
Good.
about recovering. My question is I've spent a lifetime of feeling super responsible for everybody. And if things would come up for them, being an empath, I always wanted to jump in and help. And I've practiced my whole life this way. But what I'm finding now is everything expanding, my heart can be so full of love, but then on the other side I can feel so much grief and feel alone. And I think what's getting in my way is that I always being giving is better than receiving was a quote that was always there when I was growing up. And what I'm finding though is that I'm wondering if there's anything that you could suggest to help me to receive more fully and be okay with that, because I think that's the balance I'm missing. You know, I can feel so much love and then so much sadness at the same time, and so I'm trying to kind of balance that and be what I came here to be.
Wow. Linda, what a beautiful question. And I just know that your heart is enormous and the love that you are here to give and to share. And so, one thing that comes through really is this idea of healthy selfishness. And those your words aren't usually used together, and yet there is an invitation to find that healthy level of selfishness where we begin to put ourselves first, where we begin to bring relationships into balance with what we're giving and what we're receiving. And sometimes there can be an imbalance because we are giving so much, whether it's, tangibly, whether it's energetically, all of the things. And so what we get to do is invite this receiving and around this healthy excitement around receiving.
Oh.
Right? And so this can be a little bit uncomfortable at first, but then it can get really fun. And so this is about getting a little bit outside of your comfort zone with, doing things just for you, for the sheer love and joy of, I want to go take this dance class, I want to go like play out in the rain, I want to go, and I really want to open my heart to receive even more. And so this is like the ultimate surrender, right? When we allow our heart just to be widely open to the universe, and allow that receiving to flow forth. And so one way that we can get more comfortable with this is actually, even making a journal about receiving. Or sometimes we can do this on our phone. But wow, I'm out in nature today and I received like these messages from the animals. I received, the breeze from the wind. I received this beautiful compliment, and beginning to celebrate that and knowing, Linda, that you bring forth that cycle of abundance so deeply to the universe, to the earth, to all the people on this planet. And so the more that you allow yourself to receive, the more that you have to give.
Oh my, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Such a blessing to me. I'm starting a brand new year today, and this is a way to start out perfectly. I'm so grateful to you and to be part of this community, and I just love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linda. Is it your birthday today?
It is.
Oh my goodness, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. This is a wonderful way to celebrate. I'm so grateful to be here with you all, and thanks for taking my question.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful year ahead.
Thank you so much. Bless you all. Thank you.
So beautiful. Oh my goodness, I love that. And just as you were talking about receiving, Emily, for me, what I got was receiving is about receiving yourself, right? Accepting yourself, receiving all the abundance around you, being grateful and appreciating and acknowledging everything around you. That is a way of receiving, because as you acknowledge, like, for example, my mom has these beautiful hyacinth flowers that have just bloomed, and they're absolutely beautiful, right? So I took pictures of course, and it's like, oh my God, so beautiful, so huge. So as I'm acknowledging them, as I'm acknowledging the beauty, I'm receiving that beauty as well.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So receiving, because in this industry, we'll say, people make receiving to be this big thing, but it's like, truly, it's not. If you can just acknowledge everything around you, receive the good, receive the bad, receive the ugly, it's okay. But it's like acknowledging what is in every moment, right? So when you can do that, you'll start to be able to understand what receiving is even more, I think. Could be wrong.
Yes. Love that.
So thank you for that, Linda. All right, we're gonna go to Stella. So if Angela said really quickly, is my throat chakra out of balance? If you're asking the question, yes, it is. I'm just gonna say that. We talked about how to identify if your throat chakra is out of balance earlier, and we talked about some of the things you can do to bring it more back into balance, etc. So please do go back and watch or listen to that again. Stella, go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great, you're looking great.
Thank you.
What you doing with your skin is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Lighting helps.
Lighting. Oh, okay. Well, I listened and it's very, very interesting. The whole thing was for me, my problem is communication with my family and my partner. I did have the childhood trauma of my father beating my mother up all the time. And for some reason, I just shut down because I don't want nobody hurting me. But when it comes to my family or my partner, well, I can't talk to him. I don't know how, because he gets hurt everything I say. So I really don't know. Like example, I just called him I'm in Panama right now. I'm not in my home. And I call him, or he called me and I say, hi, what you been doing, And he says that it was 114 in Las Vegas. So I said, oh, so he says, I haven't got out of the house. And I said, did you fix the oven? We have an oven that had, and he's an electrician. And he says, why do you have to tell me what to do? I don't want to, I mean, did you call me to ask me about the thing, or did you call me to say hello? All I want to, so I don't have nothing to say, so I'm going to hang up the phone. I said, okay. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Well, the first thing, I mean, you froze for a second. It's Stella, right?
Yes.
Yes. You have a authentic energy frequency that just emanates from you, and the ability to just express yourself, freely, authentically. Like, I'm just getting that from your energy. And, you bring up a really great point, right, around communicating with family, because sometimes family can be our greatest teachers, our greatest lessons around, spiritual growth, around all of the things. And, one thing that we didn't kind of explore too deeply, but yesterday was the Cancer new moon, where the sun and the moon are exact alignment in the sign of Cancer, which is about family, which is about home, right? We are in Cancer season, so this can bring up themes around relationships, especially around family. And so if this is present or prevalent right now, like we're right on time, because this is an area of consciousness that we are meant to explore, and all the lessons, might be coming up to the surface, right? And so we can learn something from every interaction. And so, this is a great tie into what Linda was saying about the giving and receiving too, because it's like, can you give a compliment to your partner, and acknowledge him, and then receive the fixing of the stove, and playing with the balance of that and seeing how that feels from a communication perspective, and still being able to express your authentic truth, but in a way that really honors him and allows him to be seen.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm very authentic. I say it like it is.
Which I love about you.
I can't. I mean, I'm transparent. I try. I don't have anything to hide, so I feel I have to say what I have. But I didn't say it in a nasty way or anything. But he's very touchy. He's a number 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're so welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and sometimes we it's about managing those relationships, right? Managing how we communicate with somebody. Relationships are, of course, very difficult, right? And it's about how you manage them. Like if I want something from my husband, if I want him to do something for me, I'm going to cozy up and be really nice and say good things. And, but he knows now that that's a tactic. But you know what? It's a tactic that works. It's a tactic that works. And I always get my way. So he knows that I'm using that tactic, but he's playing along with it. I'm playing along with it. It's all good. Right. And I get what I want. So that's all that matters. Right. So it's knowing how to communicate with your significant other that works for both of you. So I always put myself first, as I've said many, many times. I put myself first unless there's something major going on, like with my husband. But as he's starting to get better and better, I've started to put myself more and more first, right? And for me, that's important. I'm not going to put myself on the back burner anymore. I'm not going to wait for my life to start again. I'm going to start now, continue living my life as he's getting better and better all the time. So how you manage your relationships, it's very easy to say, well, my parents were like this, my parents were like that. And so I might be projecting and I might be, replaying that same scenario. But at the same time, we've outgrown, most of us, those old paradigms and those old beliefs and the way that our parents behaved. But sometimes I have to tell myself, this is not my ex-husband. This is not so-and-so. I'm different. I'm not the same as I was before. So I don't have to act or react in the same way that I might have done before or how my parents do. So for me, it's a little bit about talking to myself a lot, right? So that I don't, replay those timelines and replay those old patterns. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely resonates.
Yeah. We're going to get to Destiny in a second because I know she was asking if you can do a process. But before that, I know Sarah wanted to share something, because when we were talking about art and creating art and all that stuff, she wanted to add something. And then I said, just wait. So Sarah, go ahead.
Thank you for reminding me exactly at what point that was. I'm somebody who has managed, although I live very inexpensively, to just follow my heart. I've gone from one art thing to another. And I'm really excited about it for a while, and I do that and I sell it. And then suddenly I'm moving on to something else that, comes into my view. And that has really made for a life of delight. I have sacrificed in that I have a more than 20-year-old car, And I guess the fact that my house is 115 years old has nothing to do with the price in California because it's so expensive. But not so recently, but I've played my metal drums and given blessings on a lot of different forums, and maybe you've heard me do that. When I heard somebody play a version of those, I was just lit up, and I knew that was the next thing for me because it just was so much joy and so much attraction. I think a lot of times that we ignore those things that come up. We don't realize there's something there for us. But what really I was thinking at the beginning was that I just did an hour on Zoom with my bar mitzvah student who's trying to write his speech, and it's about Moses talking to the people. It's very end, and God's done this for you, and you're going to have to do this and that. And he said, "What do I write about here?" And I said, "You write about how parents either support their children in exactly who they are or push them to be something that they're not." And I think in this society, we have all been pushed so much because of other people's views of what we should be and what we should do. And that's part of, what our soul path is here often to think about or to look at, because we're here to bust out of that freedom is the pivotal metaphor for really everything, is overcoming those who would try to put those limits on you, and how people still need to be helped because maybe they were given big challenges to overcome. And that in society, what we should be doing is not legislating against people being themselves, like people in transgender, situations and all that, and having the government say, no, you can't be yourself, and saying to parents, no, you can't support your child in being who they are and what they are. And that this is such a wonderful forum here, Alara, that you've got to help people realize who and what they are and to receive the support to do that and to be that. And even if there's difficulty with communication or sometimes cutting other people off, to realize that what we are here to do is to let our hearts blossom like a flower in the sun, like your mother's flowers, and to realize that beauty, and that in so doing we fulfill what it is we've come in to do. And people on their deathbed, the thing that they usually repent, not that they is that they spent too much time at the office trying to make money or trying to fulfill other people's ideas. And that what people usually wish on their deathbed is that they had more children, so that they had more love in their lives. So I just wanted to say that this seems to me just the pivotal question that we as individual and society are presenting with right now, is to find your own joy and to express that and to make yourself healthy through that, and to make the whole world and universe more healthy through you being exactly who you came to be. And bless and I'm blessing everyone to have ease with finding out what that is and walking that path and just filling the world up with love.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much. Absolutely.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. And I'm not going to say anything. It's okay, because we've already gone way over. I was going to say something. It's like, never mind. It's okay. Part of me sometimes just wants to, continue sharing, right? Sharing my thoughts or ideas that come up. But sometimes it's like, next time, so next time we'll share more. But it's true, like, it is like, the show's called Awaken to Happiness Now, right? So awaken to happiness means finding your joy, being okay with who you are, accepting yourself, acknowledging who you are as a person, as a being, and, just doing the best you can, because we've all had difficult circumstances. I think everybody on this call who are on these types of calls, we've had challenges in expressing ourselves, being ourselves, right? But that time, we don't have to hold on to that history, that past. We can start to be more of what lights us up, what brings us joy, what makes us happy now. We don't have to wait to be fully healed before we start, right? So I know a lot of people in this industry talk about healing and clearing and all that wonderful stuff, which we definitely need, but not at the expense of living and thriving and finding the joy in our everyday as well. Right, Emily?
Absolutely. Yeah. So beautifully said and expressed. And Sarah, I love just witnessing you with your tuning forks and, in your joy and play and excitement, because that has a ripple effect. It absolutely does.
Yeah. Everything we do, everything we think, everything we feel has a ripple effect. So, that's why I always say, be careful what you ask for, be careful what you wish for, be careful what you say, be careful. But it's not about being careful, it's about being present, right? So the more that we are able to be present in our lives with ourselves, the easier I think it will be for us to express ourselves, to be who we truly are, right? And so that means being in our heart, being aware of our energy field, what's coming up, and or not, and then changing it, then doing some healing work or getting support when things come up. Don't go looking for stuff. But
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I just want to add to that, Alara, is that, our creative expression is a very quick frequency shifter,
yeah,
like say that we are experiencing tough emotions or we're experiencing, something challenging in our day. When we go to those things
absolutely.
that we know bring us joy, going outside in nature, whether it's, just journaling, what are the things that absolutely light you up and fill you with joy? Those are the creative expression expanders that bring us into a higher state of being.
Absolutely. And that is what will change your frequency and your vibration in the moment, right? So, feel the feels, whatever you're feeling, and then change it, because you don't have to stay in that feeling for more than 70 seconds. I know sometimes we stay in it for a long time. You don't have to. That means you bought into the story, etc. So, I am really good about, like when I'm aware, I'm aware it's like, oh, my energy is off, or I'm feeling cranky, or I'm feeling like this. All right, let me see what it is. Like go inside and say, what's going on here? Then once I know, then it's like, all right, let me go change this now. Right. So go outside, get some fresh air, look at the sun, look at the flowers, play with the dogs, whatever happens to be, listen to the music, etc. Do something to change the energy and frequency. And then, you won't stay in that space too long, right? It really is that simple, guys. Really is that simple. It doesn't have to be more complicated.
I want to say one really quick thing that I thought earlier is that, when we look around, like I've tried certain arts that I say, oh, this one's not quite for me, but something we all have in our hand these days are our cell phones.
Mhm.
I went to a glass art show and I was just thrilled, and I took pictures. I asked permission, but I took all these pictures and I came home and I sent them to a lot of people, and I've looked at them myself, and just that joy and uplift. But if you don't know what your artistic creation may be, just go around with that camera in your hand and take pictures of things that strike you as beautiful. And I mentioned to somebody that I told my kids, if you want to see what delighted me in my life, go through my photos.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
that can be an artistic creation for you. It's just going around and photographing beautiful flowers that you see.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're in that moment of, you know, nothing's going great in this moment, something's happening, go back and take a look at those pictures on your phone. That will bring you out of that state. Um, Goodness. Any last words of wisdom? I know we're like way over, Emily, and I know you probably have another meeting, but there was Angela just asked a really quick question. I just want to answer that if we can. Can a location affect our ability to heal? With the nodes changing, is this something worth considering?
Yeah, so this is a great question. There's, multiple parts to it. And one thing that I would say is, yes, there's something that's called astrocartography, which basically is looking at our placement and how it's activating the planets, and helpful to look at what's really being activated through the location that you are at presently. And sometimes what it is that we're looking to deepen, explore, expand, heal an area of consciousness and really focus on that, whether it's conscious or subconscious. So that can be something really interesting to look at what placements in our chart are really being activated by the location that we're presently in. And then the second part of this question, with the nodes changing, what I would invite everybody to do that is familiar perhaps and is interested in further exploring is to look at where Aries and Libra fall in your natal chart, because depending on the houses that they traverse, depending on the planets and placements that are within those houses, you're going to have greater activation in these areas of consciousness during the next 18 and a half months.
Wow. Okay, so there's a lot more information that, of course, Emily can share, which if you book a session with her, she can definitely go deeper into that. But her sessions, the radiant sessions with Emily, are for starseeds, spiritual entrepreneurs, healers, creatives, and heart-centered beings who have a deep path of service, but who would like to help creating greater flow and ease with sharing your unique gifts. And I know a lot of people are challenged with that, so please do take a look at the package, see if that is something that resonates with you. If you would like greater insight and clarity around your unique blueprint, your galactic connections and creative gifts, again, this radiant session will be helpful. If you have a deep desire to create beauty in your life and in the world around you, and your life is meant to be a living, breathing masterpiece of your authentic expression, again, these radiant sessions are for you. So please do take a look at the package, and especially the part that says, who are these sessions for? And I'm sure you will resonate with some of those things, and the sessions can support you with discovering and deepening your understanding of your unique soul purpose, your creative gifts, and authentic expression, and so much more. Take a look at the testimonials, because there's so many wonderful testimonials that are sharing about their experiences working with Emily, and I think you'll be blown away. So please do take a look at that for yourself. And we always have such a wonderful time, Emily. You always share such wonderful information that we never have enough time to really go deeper into things. I would love to continue talking with you even more and more, but I just found this to be so fascinating, and you gave me some more information to think about, to look at. I love anything that it has been researched, because I am scientifically minded a little bit in that way. So just learning about some of the experiments that have been done, I love to hear about that as well. And because there's a knowing that yes, this works, blah blah blah. Then when you hear about experiments being done, then that's the proof, that yes, it's actually true. It's not just woo woo, right? So thank you for sharing all of that too. It was really important. And sound, vibration, frequency, learning about your gift, your soul expression, your blueprint. Of course, the free gift that Emily has shared with us is on the gifts page. Please do take a look at that, download it, and look at it for yourself as well. So much information there. Yeah, go ahead, Emily. What were you gonna say? Sorry, I kept going.
I was just going to say it's been my deepest joy, and I have so much gratitude. I love this conversation, all the explorations, and just love being with you and this beautiful community. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for all your wonderful questions. Thank you for being here with us today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Please join us. And then again, like I said, the sessions with Emily, 111 for a 1 hour session. I really think you won't regret it when you get a session with Emily. And it's about, your soul, your expression, who you truly are deep within, and how you want to be in this world. So she can go through the astrological stuff, the galactic stuff, the human design stuff. It's just so much. So please do take advantage of this special offer with Emily as well. All right, so thank you so much, everyone. I know we went over, but it was such a wonderful conversation. Oh my God, I just loved it. So thank you for bearing with us and staying with us. And again, Linda, happy birthday. Have a wonderful day and year ahead. Okay, sending you all much love and blessings. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Again, thank you so much, Emily. So much. I just love talking with you. So wonderful.
Thank you so much. Gratitude.
Bye, everyone. Bye for now.